The Jurassic Period, a lost world of immense scale, was defined not just by the rise of giant herbivores. It was shaped by the precision and power of the carnivores that stalked them. To understand this epoch is to understand its most profound conflict. A deep-time drama between the sleek, multi-ton predator and the armored behemoth it hunted. This conflict, perhaps more than any other, reveals the evolutionary arms race that shaped the Mesozoic food web. A chilling, primal truth underpins the landscape. Success was earned by the blade, and survival by the shield.
This fragment,
Now,
though small,
let's open the fossil
reveals the
record
immense
and resurrect
scale
the
of
story
creatures
of
that once
the bizarre
roamed
survivor.
this ancient desert.
Our focus falls immediately on Allosaurus, the quintessential apex predator of the late Jurassic in North America. This animal was not merely large, it was a finely tuned instrument of attack. When we analyze its anatomy, we see a clear departure from the bulk of earlier theropods. The Allosaurus possessed a comparatively lighter build, suggesting that speed and agility were central to its hunting success. Its powerful S-curved neck supported a large skull equipped with serrated blade-like teeth. But here is where the myth-busting begins. Contrary to popular depictions, the Allosaurus's bite force was not its primary weapon. Comparative paleontology shows its bite was relatively weak, especially when measured against Tyrannosaurus. Instead, we hypothesize it used its skull like a great hatchet, delivering rapid,
This massive
repeated
herbivore
slashes.
is heavily-armed. The Allosaurus must navigate the
The
lethal
goal
array of
to
spikes if it
induce
hopes to
massive
secure a
trauma
meal.
and blood loss. The sheer force of its strike, driven by its powerful neck muscles, would compensate for a less crushing bite.
A herd of Stegosaurus grazes
We
the
see
fern
that the
prairie,
Allosaurus's
but high
adaptations
above,
were
the
geared
watchful
toward a
eye of an
strategy of
Allosaurus
cutting,
waits patiently.
slashing, and attrition, a strategy far removed from the single bone-shattering blow. And this strategy demanded
Here, in the
collaboration,
shadow of the giants,
which brings us
life
to the
flourishes.
concept of pack hunting.
These vast
While
herds
direct,
shape the land.
incontrovertible fossil evidence of a coordinated pack remains elusive, a fundamental challenge of reconstructing behavior. Nevertheless, the surrounding evidence is compelling. Multiple individuals of Allosaurus are frequently found in proximity at feeding sites, such as the famous Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry. Furthermore, when we analyze
The
the
midday
required
sun
hunting
beats
strategies
down,
for tackling the most
forcing
heavily
the
defended
Stegosaurus to
herbivore,
adapt. These
that
large dorsal
species
plates
is the Stegosaurus. A solitary attack appears improbable, bordering on suicidal. A full-grown Stegosaurus
This is
could
the
weigh upwards of
Thagomizer.
5 metric
4
tons
massive spikes backed
and was
by
protected
immense
by a
muscle,
suite of
capable
devastating
of tearing through the
anatomical
hide
features.
of any predator.
The need to overcome such armor would drive an evolutionary pressure for social hunting. They would surround the prey, distracting its formidable defenses and delivering disabling wounds through a coordinated effort.
To reconsider.
The Allosaurus's success was not born from overwhelming individual power, but from tactical superiority and collective action. This strategy allowed it to take down prey far larger and more dangerous than itself. It was the keystone carnivore, the force that kept the giant herbivore populations in check. But it achieved this balance not through brute strength, but through a sophisticated strategy. To appreciate the gravity of the Allosaurus threat, we must first examine the formidable nature of its prey.
Presenting a
The
formidable array
Stegosaurus, the ultimate defensive strategist of its world, a living fortress that offered no easy vulnerability. Its very structure speaks of the intense predator pressure it faced. The plates, The iconic diamond-shaped
The predator
dorsal plates
executes a swift
were long
feint,
assumed to
hoping
be
to
armor,
isolate the Stegosaurus.
a common
The
misconception.
powerful tail swing is exactly
Yet
the
when we
reaction it
analyze
sought.
their fragile, highly vascularized structure and how they were embedded in the skin rather than attached directly to the skeleton,
The Stegosaurus
we see
is
that they were
vulnerable.
likely too
The
brittle
Allosaurus leader
for
sees
direct
its
combat.
chance, exploiting the momentary
This
blind
challenges
spot
the
for a
myth of
calculated
Stegosaurus
sprint.
as merely a walking tank. Instead, these plates likely functioned as sophisticated thermoregulatory systems, allowing the giant to passively absorb or dissipate heat, or perhaps to serve as dramatic visual displays. They may have been for a species' recognition and communication. This recognition of a more nuanced role for the plates heightens the importance of the creature's true weapon, the Thagomizer. The term itself, originating from a famous paleo cartoon, has since been scientifically adopted. It describes the four
calipers say
massive
42
bony spikes that
Okay,
terminated its
confirming the
powerful,
theropod femur,
muscular
we need
tail.
to jacket this section next.
This was not a passive defense. It was an actively wielded, devastating weapon. Fossil evidence, notably from an Allosaurus tail vertebra,
This
shows
remarkable
a perfectly
fossil shows the
sized puncture
consequence
wound.
of a brutal encounter. The
The
irregular
bone had
scar
partially
tissue.
healed, telling the unambiguous story of a successful defensive strike. The Stegosaurus may have been slow, but it was acutely aware of its surroundings. It was engineered to keep its vulnerable flank and head safely shielded by a constant swish of its lethal tail. This dynamic, predator and prey, blade and shield, shaped the entire ecological niche of both species. The Allosaurus
constant
pack
pressure of
was
predators
not confronting
ensures
an
that only the
individual.
fittest
It was
individuals
attempting to
endure.
dismantle a defense formation.
The scars are
We can
prominent,
construct a
illustrating the
hypothetical
filter that weeds out
scenario
the reckless
rooted
or
in
unskilled
biomechanical
individuals,
realities.
confirming the Thagomizer's
The
effectiveness.
pack's priority would be to isolate the target, perhaps a juvenile or a less vigilant individual. But a direct confrontation with an adult Stegosaurus would involve a terrifying risk assessment. Paleoecology suggests that Stegosaurus lived in loose, herd-like groups, in observations supported by trackways and bone beds. When threatened, these animals would instinctively form a defensive ring, much like modern musk oxen. They would position their spiked tails outward. This behavior transformed the herd into a circular fortress of lethal spikes, presenting a near-impassable barrier. The Allosaurus strategy, therefore, would shift from brute force to calculated attrition and distraction. One or two younger or smaller predators might engage in feints, darting toward the head or flank, drawing attention and opening the formation. This forced the
Buried for
Stegosaurus to
millennia,
reposition
this
and
mineralized
deploy its
bone
tail.
whispers secrets of a lost
This is a
world.
critical point. The target is not the body, but the defense. By forcing the Stegosaurus to whip its tail against a feint, the pack created momentary blind spots. These openings provided the dominant hunters the chance to sprint in and deliver quick bleeding slashes. The attacks were aimed at the unprotected soft tissue of the legs or the belly of another individual. This assault was not about a single kill shot. It was about attrition, crippling the prey through cumulative damage. They would wait for exhaustion and blood loss to set in. This is where science meets dramatic truth. It wasn't a Hollywood brawl, but a protracted, high-stakes siege where the pack's intelligence and patience were
The
pitted
Allosaurus
directly
attempts the
against the
dangerous
prey's
strategy,
specialized,
a quick fence
focused
designed
defense.
to gauge the Stegosaurus's reaction time and
The
defensive
true
capabilities.
legacy of this Jurassic conflict is written not in cinematic fantasy, but in the fossil record. It is a testament to the lethality and effectiveness of both the predator and the prey. One of the most revealing windows into this ancient struggle comes from the Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry.
This
Along with
calculated
similar
retreat
sites,
illustrates
like the famous
attrition
Marsh
model,
Quarry,
where
we
the
find an
predator waits
abundance
for the
of
cumulative
Allosaurus and
damage to take
Stegosaurus
effect.
remains, intermingled. This geographical proximity reinforces their central roles in the Jurassic ecosystem. But specific bone pathology reveals the true cost of their encounters. When we analyze the remains of Allosaurus, we frequently find evidence of healed, or partially healed, injuries.
We need to
These
stabilize
wounds could
this
only
edge
have been
before we go any
inflicted by the
deeper.
powerful,
All right, I'll prep the
sharp
plaster
defenses
now.
of a large herbivore. Fractured limbs, damaged ribs, and, most notably, puncture wounds on the caudal vertebrae. The tailbones all tell a story.
This Allosaurus rib shows clear
It is a
signs of a
story of
massive
high-stakes
impact,
encounters where the
likely from a
predator
sauropod
often
tail.
paid a heavy price.
Yet,
These injuries were not minor scrapes. They were career-ending, or permanently debilitating. This confirmed that the Stegosaurus's Thagomizer was a highly effective deterrent. We are looking directly at evidence of evolutionary success. This leads us to a deeper understanding of the ecological balance maintained by this dynamic. The Allosaurus pack, by preying on Stegosaurus, exerted a powerful selective pressure. They constantly eliminated the weak or the slow, ensuring the survival of the best defended Stegosaurus. Conversely, the Stegosaurus's formidable defense acted as a natural check on the Allosaurus population. It weeded out the reckless, the unskilled, and the physically compromised predators. The two species were locked in a co-evolutionary dance, where one's success directly drove the other's adaptation. The ultimate takeaway from decoding the defensive formation of the plated giant is one of immense sophistication. It was a world of strategy, not simply brute force. The Allosaurus, with its pack intelligence and hatchet-like skull, had to be a master strategist. This was to counter the Stegosaurus, which utilized the simple, profound geometry of a defensive ring
The Stegosaurus has
and the
successfully
deadly
defended
accuracy
itself.
of its
The high cost
specialized
of the
tail.
hunt is clear as the wounded Allosaurus
We see that
lies
the
defeated
armor
in the fading light.
was secondary, the weapon was primary. Through scientific deconstruction, we move past the myth of the slow, clumsy giant. We reveal a creature that was a pivotal, active participant in its own survival.
The arid plains and conifer forests are bathed in the profound colors of sunset.
The very scars on the bones of its hunters confirm its place as an armored fortress. It was armed with a devastatingly effective medieval weapon, ensuring that for every hunt that ended in a kill for the pack, another ended in injury or death. This cemented the status of Stegosaurus as one of the Jurassic's most respected and most dangerous targets. The great sweep of time has erased the sounds and the smells of this ancient world, leaving us only with these mineralized fragments. Yet within these fossils, we can still trace the shadow
This
of the great
illustrates the
conflict,
attrition-based attack model,
the
focusing on
immense pressure
cumulative
that
damage
shaped these
rather than a
lives,
swift
and the
conclusion.
intricate web of survival that bound predator and prey. They stand as a powerful reminder that all life, even in the realm of giants, is an elegant, interconnected equation, one that we are still learning to solve.